In this video, I'm going to explain how to check your work using the recap in Rhino estimating software. Now on the screen, you'll see I have a recap open of an estimate, and you see across the columns here going down the page, I have 4 different sections. Okay, I have panels and feeders section, and in that each of these sections I've input materials. Okay, now again, this is a summary of the estimate. You guys would know this if you're watching this video, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how to check your estimate for errors. Now I intentionally created an error in this estimate, but sometimes you just make entries that kind of skyrockets the price of your estimate. So long story short, let me just get to it. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here. When I input materials, you'll see that at the bottom it shows the total amount of dollars there are in each section. Okay, this total estimate is for $239,503. Now, what I want to explain is this is like way over what it should be. I know that, okay? Now, I'm being hypothetical here, but I actually created a problem in this estimate, and I've seen this many times when I've reviewed hundreds of estimates with people, and I've seen errors like this, okay? So now you can check your own. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to scroll up to the top here. First, I'm going to look at the material cost. Okay, so again, I'm going to scrolling all over here, but the 239,000 is just way out there. I know that this bid or this estimate would never be that much. So I'm going to go through this with a fine-tooth comb and try and isolate the problem and then fix it. Okay, so again, at the top, I'm looking at materials. I see there's a total of 37,700 and change materials. And I look across here, there's 11,000 in panels and feeders, some in lighting, 14,000, but nothing outlandish here, okay? Next, I'm going to go look at the labor. Okay, so here we have the crew labor hours across here. Okay, there it is, 2,436 hours. I'm sure that that's way high, okay? So look, I see in panels there's 322 hours. Oh, in lighting there's 1,700 hours. And power is 100 hours, and outdoor lighting 310 hours. So here's my culprit. In the lighting section, I have an overage of hours. Okay, so my point is that you look in the recap. Oops, I opened that up accidentally. You look in the recap for things that are large numbers, okay? And I see that there's 1,700 hours in lighting, and there's not near that in any other section. So that's my culprit. Now I'm going to navigate to the estimate. I'm going to drill down in the lighting section to try and find this error. So I'll click estimate. Going back to the estimate, and I'm going to click Edit Takeoff in Lighting, and here's where I'm going to look for the excessive labor amount. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the extended labor column on the right-hand side, this column right here. I'm going to look down, and I'm going to look for really big numbers, okay? So here I see on this line there's 88 hours. Well, that's not outlandish. Here's 27 hours, 29 hours, 137. It's a little bigger, but still no big deal. Let me scroll down a little further here. And finally, okay, there's 75 hours on this item of fluorescent fixtures. And okay, here it is. So see how these totals, there's 869 hours on this one thing. It's a LED 4-foot LED fluorescent fixtures. Now you see my point. I went into the recap and identified the section that had a way high amount of hours. Now I go down into the actual section and look for labor, and look at here. It looks like I might have added an extra 0 on this assembly, okay? And so what happened is it showed that I put in 1,100 of these assemblies instead of 110 of them. Now, you always want to go back and correct your mistakes. I could either go back and put the correct amount of assemblies in here, or change this amount. Now, what I prefer to do is just go input the correct amount and then delete these items. Now, I'm not going to show you all that. I'm just going to correct it now, and then I'll turn the video back on after it's corrected, and we'll see a difference. So again, notice there's 869 hours of fixture labor, and there's 253 hours with 4S boxes. So let me go adjust that to 110 instead of 1,100 of them. Okay, now we see that I went through and changed this to 110 items instead of 1110 or 1110, and it came with 86 hours instead of 860. Okay, so I had 10 times too much labor in here just because I added a zero. This can happen when you're estimating. Let me explain something else. I'm going to actually create another issue with this, and then we'll go look at it so you kind of have an idea what to look for. Real important to look over your recaps, your recap for your estimates, and scrutinize it, okay? Now, here we're back to our recap, and the excessive hours were in lighting there, and now my crew labor hours seems more in line with what it should be, and my price is diminished tens of thousands of dollars. Okay, so I'm going to just show one more quick scenario. I'm just going to go, I'm going to go make a mistake in here so we can see a problem with material cost. There's something else you can do. If you make a wrong entry, you'll see that there's crazy high material cost and you have to go hunt it down. Let me show you. Now we're back to the recap. I just created another scenario that I've seen before where people make changes or edits in the estimate and then their numbers are crazy high and they try and figure out how or why. So in this case, I'm looking at material cost here. The material cost is $78,000 and that just seems excessive. And so again, we look across here, we see that there's $58,000 in panels and feeders, okay? $8,000 lighting and so on. Now, again, I've seen this happen where people go and they edit or change things and they make a mistake and then the numbers come out crazy high. And so it's good for you to know how to find those errors and correct them. Now I'm going to go back to the panels and feeders section. I'm going to drill down and click Edit Takeoff in panels and feeders here. And when looking down here, so I'm looking now for excessive material costs. Again, I scroll down the extended price here of materials, and there it jumps out at me, $47,000 for this one line item. Now again, I've seen it before where people change the unit of measure here accidentally. Let me stop highlighting that. Here the unit of measure was changed for C per 100. In other words, the cost is $474 per 100, and people accidentally change it to each, and then it throws out a crazy high number here. So in this case, I just want to click Edit, and I'm going to reset this at the price per 100 feet instead of per each, and then click Save. Again, when you're looking for mistakes that are crazy with crazy high numbers for labor, extended labor, or price, you want to go down the price column and look for just really extended price, rather, right here, extended price, and look for really high prices. Now here's a lot of money here for this 350 MCM, but it's 464 feet. It's almost $2,000. So it's not thousands of dollars. And all I'm saying is you want to check these things out. You go down the extended price looking for crazy high numbers, or go down to extended labor column and look for crazy high numbers of labor, okay? Let me go back to the recap. That's what I wanted to show you. It's important to know how to find mistakes in your Rhino, and this recap report shows you how, or shows you where the issue is. Okay, that's it for this video.